Welcome to the Your Courageous Life podcast, where we explore what it really means to transform fear, burnout, and perfectionism with the practice of courage. I'm Kate, author of the books 100% Fully Alive and The Courage Habit, creator of YourCourageousLife.com, and head of the CLCC Coach Training Program at TeamCLCC.com. If you're someone who feels deeply, thinks critically, and wants to stay grounded in a world that can feel like too much, then this is the podcast for you. Learn evidence-based and heart-centered tools to practice courage so that who you are on the inside becomes how you live, lead, and show up on the outside. And now, let's get into today's episode. You know, we're getting ready to move into a new year at the time of me recording this. And so I'd like to talk about something that can make even the most self-aware person a little bit uncomfortable, which is the courage to want more. You know, a lot of people feel guilty about a desire to want more. And since we're moving into a new year, people are naturally starting to go, what would I like this new year to be about? What would I like to be different about my life? What would I like to grow? Things of that nature. If you'd like a little help with that, by the way, I put out a courageous living planner every single year. I'm sure you heard in the intro the option to join the Your Courageous Life community by heading to yourcourageouslife.com/begin. That is how you would get access to that free resource of the Courageous Living Planner, which will be available in the Your Courageous Life library. So head to that URL if you would like that free resource. And then I'm going to get into the courage to want more without feeling guilty about it in this podcast episode. And maybe you think to yourself, I don't feel guilty about wanting more. And it's like, there's usually a hidden blocker for someone around wanting more somewhere. Maybe people want more freedom, more money, more peace, more love, more meaning. And the guilt comes up around things like, I should just be grateful. Or, you know what, that's not really acceptable. Or that's selfish. It's going to take away from somebody else. Or these dreams are too much. Especially for women, there's a lot of messages around be grateful for what you have. Don't ask for more. Definitely don't ask your family to have to compromise anything if you have an ambition. And these are questions that I have to confront myself, messages I need to confront myself as someone who runs a business, who runs the CLCC Coach Training Program. It is not always convenient to need to do the things that I need to do to run my business. And sometimes there are conflicts with what my business needs and what my family needs that I need to work out with my husband. But here's the thing. Courage isn't about settling. To be courageous, to practice courage, you got to be honest, even about your desire. There's some people who also feel like saying that you want something more is like saying that something's wrong with your life or like you have to completely upend your life. And that was actually something that we were hearing people when they were joining the Certified Life Coach Collective at TeamCLCC.com, which is the coach training program that I run. They were saying, I want to become a coach, but I feel like I'd have to tear apart my whole career in order to do it. And it's like, no, you can become a coach, and it does not have to mean that you abandon your current career. It can be an adjunct to your current career. It can be a complement to your current career, or it could be a pivot into a new career. It just depends on the direction you want to take it. So here's the thing. Wanting more doesn't mean something's wrong with your life or you have to blow your whole life up. It means something inside of you is waking up. It's your intuition pointing you towards expansion. I mean, consider desire as a data point. It's fear that's going to tell you that following those desires makes you greedy or ungrateful. And that is the lie that keeps people in these half lives that aren't really 100% fully alive. A half life. A life that looks fine on paper, but it feels flat to live. So how do you tell the difference between healthy desire and fear-based wanting, or the fear shutting down your wanting? Here's the litmus test. Healthy desire is grounded. Healthy desire says, I'd love to grow in this direction. If you're In fear, you're going to resist being grounded. You're going to feel reactive. You're going to resist going after what you want. And if your wanting is actually rooted in fear instead of courage, because sometimes people push themselves to want things, but they're pushing themselves from a fear-based place, fear-based wanting is going to feel frantic. Fear-based wanting is going to be very attached to results. If I don't get this, I won't be okay. Courage expands you. Fear controls you. Fear feels a bit like a boot on your neck. And it is a courageous act to choose expansion. So let's make this real, all right? Maybe you have a desire to make more money in the new year, but you're afraid that people will judge you for it. Maybe you want to move to a new city, but guilt is telling you that you're abandoning your family, or guilt is telling you your immediate family who would need to come with you won't want to make that transition. Maybe you want to have more joy in the coming year, but you kind of also know that you're stuck in these stories of feeling like you have to earn it. Those feelings are not the truth. Remember, fear can feel very real, but it likes to tell tall tales. It's not the truth. It's an old story. It's an old narrative. It's your conditioning. It's also the echo of a belief system that says other people's comfort matters more than my fulfillment. Other people might judge me, which is really their own discomfort, if I make more money. I gotta scale back so that they'll be okay. I really want more joy, but I'd better make sure I've earned it. People are gonna, my coworkers are gonna say something if I take time off, if I use my PTO. Courage is the reframe. I think courage often lives in the and. I can be afraid and decide to move towards what I want anyway. I can honor the things I'm grateful for and still want more. I can be happy that I'm putting more time on the calendar for me, and I can acknowledge that it might feel a little uncomfortable to do that if my coworkers might judge me. Instead of seeing things as being in opposition to each other, see it as a partnership. And your humanity lives in the partnership. I mean, think about it. When you go to one or the other of these polar opposites, you end up becoming so frozen and robotic. The and is your humanity. So here's something to start trying out in relationship to this. If it feels a little spicy, let's say, for you to dare to want more, to dare to dream. First thing, and I love grabbing like piece of paper, journaling. All right, let's get into the truth of what you actually want. Not what you think you should want. The real, here's what I actually want. The truth. And my favorite coaching question for years now has been, if I could have it any way I want it, how would I want it? This is a question I ask my personal clients. This is a question that I pose to CLCC trainees as they are determining what they want for their coaching practices. If I could have it any way I want it, how would I want it? And you write it down and you don't edit a thing. You do not edit anything for what being realistic looks like or what other people are going to think of you if you achieve it. Say it out loud, write it down, even if it's a little scary. Second thing, tap into your nervous system and notice what's coming up, what emotions come up, what sensations in the body come up. Sit beside or with those sensations, those emotions. Now, you might feel excitement. Great. But you also might feel guilt or fear or overwhelm. How am I going to do this? Instead of thinking that those feelings are a sign that you should not do it, what would it look like to stop aligning guilt with morality or the right thing to do? What would it look like to say, all of this is welcome? Just like with a small child that sometimes can't regulate its emotions, and I want to be patient and loving and supportive with that small child because kids, their brains are just not even online for higher order thinking a lot of the times. They haven't developed yet, and especially not when they're having a meltdown. the same way you'd sit with a small child and try to help that child to regulate, because you're older and wiser and can see the bigger picture, that the balloon that just floated off that child is having a meltdown about, and that kid is like laser focused on the balloon. You know that there's contextually a lot more to life than that balloon. Give the kid a moment to regulate. Give yourself a moment to regulate. That's the comparison I'm making here. Treat yourself with the same loving tenderness you would treat a small child who gets stuck in fear. Third thing, ask yourself, if I trusted that it was totally okay for me to want this, what would my next small action be? Small action, doable action. Often, to start taking action, when we try to take action and then we fail, it's because we actually need to lower the bar, not raise the bar. Lower the bar enough that you can hop over it. What would your next small action be? And then after that, take that action. And after that, take that action. And here's the alchemy of it all. When you stop judging your desires start to guide you. You realize that wanting more isn't about some kind of entitlement or who do you think you are. It's about alignment. You're not wanting more for no reason. I say often, the courage I want people to practice is to let the truth of who they are on the inside become how they actually live on the outside. So that means letting your inner truth have more space to live, to be expressed. You don't have to justify your dreams. You just got to be honest about them. And the courage to want more is really about a living practice of courage to say, I believe my life is worthy of fullness. I believe that I deserve to live 100% fully alive. I believe that I deserve to live with courage. Now, if you are wanting some more resources on how to reframe when those voices come up, I would highly encourage you to check out my book, The Courage Habit, which is on Amazon, because there's a lot of work in there about how to reframe those voices and those old narratives. There are some free worksheets as well on the Your Courageous Life library. They partner with the Courage Habit book, and you can get the worksheets for free by becoming a subscriber, which I've mentioned already. But the worksheets kind of make more sense when you have the Courage Habit right beside you. But again, you could do them standalone. They just kind of partner better with the actual book. So that could be something that you could use as a support for how you really allow your nervous system to feel safer in audaciously, bravely saying, I want more for my life. I'm creating more for my life. I've decided this is it. This is the year. I have the courage to want more. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Before you go, would you take just one moment to give a rating in whatever podcast app you're listening in right now? It's a tiny action that helps to get this podcast out to more people. And I've got more for you. You can get access to free resources, audios, worksheets, and more for practicing courage in your everyday life. Head over to yourcourageouslife.com and become a subscriber, and you'll get access to an entire library of free courageous resources. And if you've ever thought about becoming a coach, or if you want to bring deeper presence and purpose to your work life so that corporate job doesn't feel quite so soul-sucking, check out the CLCC Coach Training Program at teamclcc.com. Thank you again for listening, and I hope that whatever today brings, you meet it with courage.